If there's one thing we've learned about business and life, it's that people are the X factor. They constantly surprise us, both in amazing ways and not so much. We're Ben and Syya, and welcome to the Gnaw on This Business Bytes podcast. This show is all about real life things we all deal with every day, how they relate to business, and how to make some sense out of our daily chaos. Welcome to the show. And welcome back to another episode of Gnaw on This Business Bytes. I'm Ben and this is Syya. Now, we've all heard about overnight success. It says, oh, the person, they came out of nowhere and you know what? They were just a success overnight. All of a sudden they're playing concerts in huge stadiums and this and that and the other thing. Or all of a sudden they're vice president of the company and say, guess what? That overnight success was probably 20 years in the making in solitude, in reflection, in frustration, in failures, in, setbacks, in lessons learned. There is a myth to overnight success. Overnight success is an anomaly. It is worse than winning the lottery. Nobody is a success overnight. There is a lifetime of experiences behind people that get to them to that point where everybody's paying attention to them. And I think that we need to be able to celebrate those failures, those shortcomings, those lessons learned, those setbacks, and all the things that get you to that point of that overnight success. And I think that that's the things that make us truly successful. So Syya, let's gnaw on this.
Oh my goodness gracious. Great balls of fire. Wait, I really should stop singing. I just stopped at the wrong word too. All right. So you got me on great balls of fire and then I just stopped. Literally my brain just went and I'm like, what were we just talking about? All right. So yeah, well, how about let us talk about the great balls of fire, that song, right? So when you think about overnight success and then when someone pops and becomes visual to you, I think it's don't think it's unfair to have this assumption that, oh my God, this person just appeared out of nowhere. Because from their perspective, they've never heard of you, seen of you, whatever, until that moment in time. So I completely understand and I completely relate to that of oh, this person's just, what have they done, right? We could argue the whole Kim Kardashian of it all.
Sure.
Right? So, but that being said, even how much I love to malign that whole family, they have worked. Now, if it's a kind of work that obviously we would be doing, it's totally different type of effort. Can you live shallow existence? That's entirely up to you. I'm kidding. I love them. I just hate them. Anyway, but, I know we like to make fun of influencers, for example, on social media. I'm not a big fan of how Instagram kind of evolved that into, again, real materialism, that vacuous, pay me or give me free things and then I'll promote you kind of vibe. There used to be a good reasoning behind it, and I still think there is justification. It's just the bar of entry is so low, you now don't have quality control of who really are influential versus people just putting up schlop, right? Mm-hmm. But despite all of that and everything, what I'm trying to say here is, but as much as I'd love to make fun of those types, it's a lot of work behind
the scenes. It's an enormous amount of work
that people don't realize. Yes, there are some folks that could just video and be done, but that's a skill, right? Mm-hmm. One and done recording and they can do it. What most people are like me, clumsy AF. Yeah, let's take 2, take 3. Let me do a jump cut here because holy crap, whatever. So I think there is understanding or empathy that one must offer in that way to appreciate someone that has, quote, arrived. But again, I think I've argued this in a previous episode, Ben.
I think we have.
we are selfish individuals, so we tend
Yes.
to think of from our own personal lens. So could it be if we don't fully appreciate someone's success or celebrate their success? What is it? Is it jealousy? Is it your ego that's stopping you from celebrating their success or
Hmm.
appreciating their success? Is there something going on in your life personally? Like, I think that is the challenge that all people of success, successful people, I'm learning English, back off, to do it. So I know I ranted a little bit and I kind of coming around the way, but the bottom line where I'm really ultimately coming to, Ben, is there are some people who are like lightning in the bottle. They got it, they got lucky. Okay. There's no two ways about it. But at the
But
same
those but
time,
those same people tend to burn out just as quickly.
and that they don't sustain it. How do you sustain it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, but again, if you're having a problem with people that are successful, it's on you. It's on you. It's not on them. And so me knocking on the Kardashians, it's on me. Why do I not care for them? Because they represent everything I despise of life. But you know what?
But here's the thing, you're not their audience. And that's
That
the
is true.
that's the key thing.
That's
You're
true.
not their audience. I'm not Kim Kardashian's audience, and that's okay. I look at these people that are these influencers on Instagram or TikTok or wherever they are. It takes, as you said, it takes an enormous amount of work. It takes strategy, it takes time, it takes effort, and it takes consistency to build a following.
Yeah.
And that following, if you do it wrong, can be gone overnight.
Yes.
So you look at things like Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast, is enormous. He's absolutely enormous. I mean, the man is a billionaire. How you make $1 billion on YouTube, I have absolutely no idea. But he's figured a way of doing it, through Squid Games and everything else that he's come up with. And the thing is, he's gotten to a point where he has hundreds of millions of people that follow him. So ergo, he can go and do this. Here's a perfect example from my world. Seth Godin from the marketing world. Seth went out and deliberately did a post a day for years,
Mm.
decades actually. For decades, he wrote a post, and he still does every single day. I wake up in the morning and I read 200 to 500 words from Seth Godin, and they're short and it's easy to read and it's thought provoking and it's interesting. He's done this for years. He's built up millions of people on this list. Now he goes and says, "Hey, I have a course called This is Marketing. Anybody interested in taking it?" 5,000 people sign up for the course within a matter of 48 hours at $500 to $800 a person.
Mm. Mm.
He's run that same course 23 times. He's got another dozen courses that he's done based on things. And the reason he can sell out these courses so quickly is because he put in the 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
And he built a reputation, he built a brand, he built a following, he built a level of trust and was able to build it out. And the same thing I would say probably goes for the Kardashians, probably goes for a lot of these Instagrammers or TikTokers, is that the ones that are sustainable, the ones that are not a flash in the pan and have built, success over time, you didn't see the first 100 iterations. You didn't see the missteps. You didn't see it because you weren't paying attention. And very few people were. But even the people that were paying attention became lifelong followers because they saw these people slip, fall, get back up again, and keep trying. And therefore, those people told somebody else who told somebody else. It's not overnight success. It takes time, it takes effort. I remember going to the University of Victoria back in the 1980s, and we had a bar called Big Bad John's. Big Bad John's is where all the bands came to test out their music. So I got to see in the 80s some of the biggest bands out there in these
Wow.
small little venues before they became huge. Before they played 50,000 seat stadiums, I was seeing them in a bar that's probably sat 400 or 500 people. And you got to listen to them rock out every night, and got to basically test them out. And we bought the cassettes, we bought the albums, we communicate. I mean, it was obviously before social media, but you became fans, and they built their fandom by testing out their music and testing out their sets and testing out their how they engage with the internet and small little audiences. And those small audiences became mid-sized audiences, became huge audiences. But it didn't happen overnight. But most people just see people playing in these 50,000 seat stadiums and say, oh my God, they're rock stars, they're amazing. But they don't see the thousands of hours hitting it, hitting a tom tom, or sitting in the back of a bus touring across the country, figuring out a chord set, and playing 4 gigs in five different cities, at the beginning of their life.
You totally just reminded me of, and of course, when you talk about music, I'm like, oh, this is Sia's happy place. You totally
Exactly.
remind me of, like the other channel that I have, mildly obsessed now. Please like and subscribe. Anyway, so you know, I'm following the Stray Kids, right? And they're this
Right.
K-pop band, and they have additional content they put on YouTube, and they have this thing that's behind the scenes.
Right.
And it shows them literally working through dance moves right before a concert and all that stuff. And what people don't realize is, and I get it, because we like to simplify things in our heads because we're simple people, humans, right? Which is, well, if you're going from concert to concert, yeah, you should know all your dance moves. You're doing the same shit over and over again. Oops, stuff over and over again, right? But the truth of the matter is each venue has its own challenges, so they have
That's
to
right.
reconform, like rechange up their positions. Maybe they're having audio or technical issues of something. They have to scrap one thing, redo another, whatever, right?
Hmm.
And it's that pressure, it's that constant pressure to perform, whatever your task is, by the way, that I think people just don't see. They see the end results and it looks
Yeah.
good, right? But that's kudos to you.
Yeah. Well, let's take that into business now, where people see somebody in the C-suite in the corner office, and they look at these things as an idol, or as a hero, and they have no idea what it took that person over a career to get to that point of time in their lives. They says, "Oh, the person's making $10 million a year in bonuses." Well, think about the 30 years that it took them to get to that position where somebody's willing to pay them $12 million in bonuses. That doesn't happen overnight. You don't get those type of stock options. You don't get the access to the private jet. You don't have the executive assistant that the presidents of the United States would kill for. When you're a mid-level manager, and all of these people started somewhere.
Right,
You know, and we need to realize that our world is full of people that are continually, and people in our audience are going to be part of that are continually growing and constantly evolving and learning and changing and getting better, and sitting there going, okay, what did I learn from that? Who are the people that I need to meet? What are the things I need to learn? What are the things I need to get better at to be able to be more successful and do and reach the goals that I'm looking to reach? Because it doesn't happen by happenstance. Nobody reaches down from the C-suite down to the mailroom and says, you're going to be the next CEO.
right.
They might reach down in the mailroom and say, you know what? Why don't we give you a next? We'll give you a shot at the next level, and it's up to you at that next level to get to the next level, to get to the next level, to get to the next level, and then so on and so on and so on, to someday, 30 odd years later, and maybe a bunch of different companies, you're in the C-suite making that $12 million bonus this year. And hopefully you're not firing 1,000 people just so you can maintain that bonus. But that's a different story altogether.
I mean, we'll take it like to a different like application, and we know this all too well, right? Which is, you take your car into a garage, right? You go to
Hmm.
one garage, and they are like, yeah, it's going to cost X amount of dollars, and you're like, and it's going to take 3 days of work.
Hmm.
You're like, I don't have that kind of time, right? So you go to another garage, person looks at it, I can, and they tell you I can solve it in 20 minutes. here's the price point, and then people get annoyed, right? Because they're like, wait, you're only working for 20 minutes and you're charging me double.
Hmm.
It's like, yeah, you're not charging me by the hour, you're charging for my wisdom,
That's right.
right? And it's kind of like that again, it is that flash of success or whatever, that's wisdom, right? That's something that again it needs to be appreciated, needs to understand there's a lot of work that went into that. And it sucks, you guys. There are some careers that just don't get the same level of respect.
It never will.
And it just is. Like it is so fascinating to me of me switching over from, tech sales into this, marketing world that I've entered into. And it's so much interesting. I don't know, I want to call it respect, but how quickly people are comfortable negating your value because they say, oh, you do social media content. My high school kid does that.
Hmm.
And you're like, cool. I don't do it for personal branding type stuff. So if they're rocking it, go for it, man. It's a different beast for business to business. Social media management and marketing is totally a different beast.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm right there with you. It's some people could argue like, for you and me, they're like, oh my God, not on this. What the? It came out of nowhere. Yeah, because we're been around.
Yeah.
We're amaze balls.
I've been podcasting for 14 years now. So anyway, let's land this plane because I think that we've beaten this one to death. I'm Ben,
I see ya.
and we'll see you soon.
Hey, hey, hey. Thanks for listening to another episode of Not on This Business Bytes. If you liked what you heard, we most humbly ask that you like, share, and hit that subscribe button. If you want to communicate more effectively within your organization, contact Ben at iambenbaker.com or me at brilliantbeanmedia.com. We can help you build your community, brand awareness, and personality through digital content and podcasting. We cannot wait to hear from you. See you next week for another episode of Not on This Business Bytes.